So joining us, we're going to talk with Lafayette City Parish Councilman Bruce Conque. We're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about politics, riding a bicycle. I mean, every little thing we can possibly think of today to find out everything we can, our in-depth look at Bruce Conque. So thank you for volunteering to do this.
Well, I'm just realizing that this is an election year. I'm not sure how deep I want to go into who is Bruce Conque.
Oh, that's great. Well, I mean, I guess they're going to love us or they're going to sink us, right?
And we'll find out on October the 6th, yes.
Okay, well, but seriously, let's start there from your public service angle. Tell us about the positions you have held, and maybe other positions people might not even be aware of, Bruce.
The last place I expected to be as a young person was where I am today.
Let me guess, you wanted to be a firefighter.
I wanted to be a firefighter. Actually, I wanted to be Peter Jennings on national news. Not many people may recall Peter Jennings, my background is journalism, or some people don't consider broadcast television to be journalism, but I did. And I spent 20 years in the business. Mm-hmm. And I learned at the time that being inquisitive or nosy or curious.
Yeah, that would be me too. I feel you. Mm-hmm.
It is the way to gain knowledge, and knowledge is power. Mm-hmm. And one thing led to another. I didn't get involved really in the public realm until the late 90s when I was appointed to what then was called the Link Committee, which was actually the predecessor to Plan Lafayette.
Right. So, and that was Lafayette in the century?
Lafayette in the new century. By the time we finished our work, it was Lafayette in the next century. So it took us 3 years to get to the point, So, that was the beginning of it. And I was appointed, interestingly, by Walter Como, who was the parish president at the time. And I was recommended by Tony Trammell, who was the traffic and transportation guy at the time. And I don't know who, I'm not sure I still consider Tony a friend after that, but I can recall we met, my wife and I were at Home Depot, and Tony was there with his grandson. This is way back. And Tony said, Bruce, he said, would you like to get involved a little bit? And I said, what you got?
Yeah.
He said, I got a vacancy on this new committee we're putting together. Would you like to be part of it? I said, yeah, sounds interesting. That was the beginning of really my public service.
Yeah.
And then it kind of evolved and expanded and really took on its own life.
So you are inquisitive by nature. Obviously, you've stated that. And it's wonderful that it's turned into this. What do you love, though, about public service? Because in broadcast journalism, that was public service as well. But now this is different in the sense that it's even wider, it's even broader in terms of the things that you do, really.
It has such an impact on just about every aspect of life in Lafayette and Lafayette Parish, and certainly upon my life. But it's what you can do to benefit your community. Now, not everyone will agree with how I approach that.
Right.
That's part of the game. But I think that my decisions are based on what I'm hearing from the constituents, but just as importantly on what I have learned by doing due diligence.
Right.
I do my homework. I take a great pride in doing that. And people may not agree with my conclusions and my decisions, but I can honestly say I did my homework. Okay? I feel comfortable with whatever was the outcome.
You served for Link. So that took 3 years. Now, what other public positions besides being a Lafayette City Parish Council person? Because you did that, then there was a break, and then you did it again. What other things?
Don't remind me,
Yeah.
Actually, from Link,
it's like the mafia. That you were out and we drug you back in.
Yeah. The deep dark secrets. When following Link. This curiosity about how government functions really was established.
You got the bug.
I got the bug, and I actually served on the Zoning and Planning Commission for 6 years.
Wow.
And I was part of the Planning Commission that approved Plan Lafayette. And that to me was my crowning point at that time. And that evolved into my running for council in 2003, serving from 2004 to 2008, being reelected, serving 8 months, and then bailing. Okay. And the reason I got out of public service was that what was the Chamber of Commerce at the time approached me with a deal I could not refuse. I mean, it was very personal. It was selfish on my part, but the compensation was good. The retirement package was even better. And it got me to where in 2000 and let's see, where are we now? 2015, I retired.
Which is wonderful. You know, that's your part of the American dream from that aspect.
Yeah.
You know,
and keep in mind when people say, "Oh, he's retired."
So what you're
I will
saying
be 73 years old in February.
And you're not a multimillionaire.
Not exactly.
Okay.
As my wife will testify.
But you are wealthy in knowledge, and your love for wanting to serve, that's certainly true. So I guess we dispelled the myth about the multimillionaire side of
Absolutely.
it, though, right? Yeah.
And I think the other myth is that I'm an extrovert. I'm not.
Really?
I am an introvert.
Wow, truly.
Yep.
Because you have never shied away from any requests that we have made for you to do an interview, to come join us in the studio, to answer questions. So I do find that very interesting.
Well, that's a sharing of knowledge with which I feel a great deal of comfort. And strangely enough, I felt more comfortable when I was an on-the-air anchor because I only had to face a camera.
That's right.
And it's taken me a number of years to become accustomed to addressing crowds.
Oh, wow.
But, you know, it's like anything else. And I hope that whomever is listening understands this, is that when you address a crowd, you are really playing a role. And that role is going to be dependent upon your knowledge and your ability to share that knowledge. And I feel comfortable in that
role.
Element. Yeah,
basically.
That role.
Yeah.
I'm not pretending. It's just that I know I have to play a role in sharing the information that I have managed to accumulate over the years, or whatever is the topic that I'm addressing at that point. But I am much more comfortable sitting at home, reading a book, and that's what an introvert is. Now, I'm not afraid to admit it, nor am I afraid of controversy.
Well, and that's what's so wonderful, too, I think, about you. You know, and maybe it is because you do your homework and you study and you love reading. You don't shy away from anything that is controversial.
As long as I feel comfortable with the knowledge.
With the information.
And if someone, especially from the news media, having spent so many years in the media, if someone comes to me and says, "Bruce, what do you think? If it just happened yesterday, can you give us a comment?" I said, "No, because I don't know enough about it to give you an intelligent answer. I could give you a political answer, but I think you deserve an intelligent answer."
Yes.
So call me when I have more information.
Yeah, and I think people, I know I appreciate it. I'm sure people hearing this who may have had, one interpretation of what Lafayette City Parish Council's members might be about, I think they should feel like it's very refreshing and wonderful that if you don't know, you say, you know what, I'm going to go and gather some more information. I'll get back with you.
Well, if you want, the worst thing you can tell a member of the media, no comment.
Yes. Yeah, we hate that. And, of course, you know, because I'm sure throughout your career you probably had that a few times.
I had a few of those responses, yeah.
So let me ask you this. On a day-to-day basis, what are things that you love to do? Obviously, besides the reading, being an introvert, do you find yourself just with your spouse most often or at home? Are you more of a homebody?
Well, yes, but it's interesting. It's not because I like being alone or being with my spouse. And by the way, I've been with my spouse 55 years.
Well, God bless you, Bruce.
No, God bless her.
Yeah. Oh, she gets an award. 55 years.
Yeah, we married in 64, but we were together beginning in 63.
Wow.
So because of today's technology, I don't have to go to the office.
That's right.
Today I went to the office for a meeting. Other than that, I don't go to the office. I conduct the majority of my business sitting back in my bedroom, accessing my Wi-Fi, using my iPad, using my iPhone, texting, email, and I get everything done. I don't. What's interesting is that the first time around on the council, I spent a lot of time in person-to-person meetings.
Right.
That has changed dramatically over the years. I can tell you I average maybe 2 meetings a week. And even those meetings sometimes turn into texting or email. It's just more convenient for everyone. Plus, I can accommodate
more people and more topics, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Isn't it amazing how wonderful the technology is now that we can do that? And in a way, even the next 10 years, I think will so drastically change the way that we do communicate with one another.
Well, the technology has changed so much. When I built the home, I've been there since 1980. My big tech addition was an outside connection for my phone.
Oh, boy. That was big time.
That was
1980.
An outlet for the phone, yeah. That was high tech.
Oh, my. I remember the first time I ever rode in a car. It was in the 80s where there was actually a telephone in the vehicle. And funny enough, it was one of those princess phones. If you can imagine that.
With a dial.
Yes.
Or a rotary dial.
Yes. We've come a long way since then, I would say, huh?
My first exposure to what we considered almost we take for granted today, mobile phones, cellular phones, was Jay's Communications.
Wow.
His company was the one that introduced mobile phones. And they were bricks.
Yes.
That you didn't carry around. They were permanent installations in your car.
Yeah.
But Jay Menard was the guy who came up with the concept and the product, because at that time we were blowing and going because of the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
And people needed to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first experience with true technology.
And boy, it's so different now, right? Do you feel as if, though, that sometimes you might be over-connected, Bruce? Sometimes I sit back and I say, well, I think I need to have 2 or 3 hours where I unplug it all and I walk away from it all.
And I've come to adopt that attitude in the last couple of years. I've begun to realize, if Bernadette calls me at 9 o'clock, I don't need to respond at 9:01. 9:05 will do.
Right.
So I tend to look less at my iPhone, which is my primary. That's my life.
Right.
Everything's on there. And I just try to appropriate my time in a more relaxed fashion. I think with last year, my wife and I were traveling, and all of a sudden, an epiphany. I said, Eileen, I really don't need to set my alarm for 4 o'clock anymore. Wow. I've been for years waking up at 4. So I don't set my alarm. So what time do I wake up?
4 o'clock. Yes. The technology in our bodies have trained us well.
That's right.
Have they not?
No.
Well, we are going to continue our conversation with Bruce Conque. He is one of the members of the Lafayette City Parish Council, District 6. We have so much more to talk about. In fact, this may be our first opportunity to talk with you, but I'm thinking probably we may have to get you in a little bit later on this year, possibly, too, to do part 2 of this.
Well, the only caution that we'd have to take is that this is an election year.
Oh, yeah.
And once qualifying takes place
Very
in
true.
August, then I think you have certain guidelines you need to abide by.
And maybe what we'll do is spend that hour talking about bicycling.
There's an interesting angle that we need to discuss because that's changed recently.
Well, okay. We've got all of that coming up on the way.